Welcome to the Beehive. I have lots to share with you today. I am busy. As you all know, we're on baby wait and watch, and so that has kept me kind of pedal to the metal with certain things that I have to, that I want to get done. What can I say? I want to get done. Just a little update about what's going on around here. We have cloudy blue skies. We're not going to complain. There is smoke on the horizon. I can see the mountains a little bit better today, but definitely, you know what's amazing to me, and what I always knew, and I think I've shared this with you before, is that when you have forest fire, sometimes it doesn't go out until during the winter. That really trees burn underground, and that's the real danger of it all. When ranchers or farmers around us want to burn a pile, there's very strict guidelines to it. They have to have a tractor there. They have to dig a moat, a trench around their burn pile, because what happens is that burn goes underground, and there's enough oxygen to sustain a fire burning under the ground, and then a tree can burn. It's kind of strange because sometimes when we're out hiking in the woods, we'll see like one tree burned, and I think it either got struck by lightning or maybe the fire came up from the ground. I don't know, but that's just an okay. This is a channel about quilting, but maybe other channels are just about quilting. My channel is about this and that, and so you have to be careful. So the people who are wanting to go back to their homes in the communities that were burned, the Forest Service has to be very careful, because there could actually be fire under the ground that when you drive through, it's not as, it's not firm. You can't walk, or, it's scary. So I always remember a boy years ago here. It turned out there was a abandoned dump site, like a garbage dump site or some kind of site here in Central Oregon, that still had, even though it had been abandoned for years, this kid climbed the fence and was walking across it, and the ground gave way, and he got severe burns on his legs because it was still burning under the ground. Yeah, it's a weird thing, isn't it? But back to, this is about quilting. I have been, last week's message from the Curiosity Experiment was about having around you things that inspire you, or that you still love, and that has really, it struck a note with me, and obviously with a lot of you, and some anxiety came out of that too, because you don't want to get rid of stuff, because as with a lot of other things, you rotate back around and you love it all over again, and that is where you have to be careful. That's where you have to be careful. But this week's, which is kind of funny that I'm talking to you, yes, and here I am talking to fill the silence, huh? Well, actually not. I know that you're all there. So I've been kind of trying to decide what I need to do. I have my cousin's baby quilt. Gosh, her baby's adorable. Her baby is adorable. And so I made the binding, and today I'm going to be attaching the binding to the quilt. I did finish quilting it all. Oops. Dropping stuff here. There we go. So I did finish quilting it on my Sweet 16. And all I did was I cross-hatched the X's with 3 lines, and then in these empty spaces I stitched a heart. So I really love the way it turned out, and now I have to put the binding on, because that is a binding task on that can be done up in Portland if I need to be in Portland. And so I want to get the binding at least on there, because that's something I can do, and then I can mail it before he starts school. Oh, and the brew doctor. Ginger lemon. Ginger lemon. Last week I had quite the stomach problems. I mean, I could have swore I had an ulcer last week, so I'm kind of gently cleaning up my what I'm putting in my body. The other neat surprise that I had is my girlfriend Cakers. For those of you who follow my Woolly Mammoth blog, you'll know Cakers because I've talked about her before on there. She's like one of those angel people, and she just and she's still working full time in the medical field, mind you. But she suddenly said, I need some quilting to do, and she knows how I'm buried. She says, give me a quilt to quilt, and I'll just quilt it for you. And I'm like, really? Okay, that's done. And so I actually gave her a quilt. She's such a clever quilter too, and she does it on her domestic machine. This was a quilt that I had already started to quilt and then somehow stopped. I couldn't figure out the next idea, but I gave it to her to quilt, and she quilted it, and it is amazing. So this is the quilt that she quilted for me. I'm sorry you can't see the whole thing, but she knows how I like words, and so in this one line where there's a polka dot fabric, she wrote with thread all kinds of things that have to do with polka dots, speckle, you know, it's just so fun. And the best part is, you see, this is one of those moments where I think, you are the smartest quilter in the universe. It doesn't happen very often, but you see these yellow little triangles? Well, when I looked in my binding drawer, I had binding already made that perfectly matches this. So I'm going to be attaching this binding to this quilt today, and that will go in the binding tack down pile, as opposed to this baby quilt that will be in the binding tack down immediately pile. What else? There's so much to share. There's just, well, maybe, who knows, maybe not so much, but yeah. So I did a little bit of cleaning, I did a little bit of organizing, and I'm telling you, I went to Joann's. I had a 50% off coupon. Yeah. And I bought this, these organization box, and it came in it was, there's a bigger one, and then this one, and it came with all these different organizational things that go in it, and it's out of plastic, it's clean, it's simple, and so I bought that package from Joann's. And the two things that I've organized so far are my Sue Spargo Squash Squad block of the week for 9 weeks kind of kit, where I have, you know, my chalk pencil, some scissors, the little pad that you can pull your needle through, the accoutrement that I bought from her her site for this specific project. I have this cute little thimble that I bought from Sue Spargo a long time ago, and I just love it. It's just a little wooden spool that sits in there. I have my drizzle little pad, my needle kit, and some threads that I bought from her that I didn't have, and then the stack of wool that I bought that she packaged for this kit, and then I started stitching that first block. And it is kind of nice to have this kind of working kit. It's kind of like my Hexi box, you know. Everything you need is kind of tucked in there, and it's very organized and not scattered all over. And with the bigger box and the leftover littler containers, I put over on my Sweet 16 table, and I put my quilting gloves, a pair of scissors, a pamphlet on quilting, you know, that kind of thing, my box of bobbins. Yeah, so I feel kind of smug. I feel like Marie Kondo came to here and actually said, there's nothing to do. This place is perfect. Not like she would run out screaming. Huh. I'm on to the next week of Hexis. I have not sewn them together, but I have, you know, them prepped and ready for stitching together. And that's this little Hexi box, which I got from So Many Quilts. It's a Moda product. I don't know if they still have it. But it's kind of nice to have everything in one spot, where, like, when I have to leave and go somewhere else to Portland for a week or more, that I can just pick this up and know that there's everything I need in there to do that project. And this little mat didn't get enough love this last 3 years, but it is getting a lot of love now. Yeah, I'm loving the Hexi project. I have no clue what that's going to look like, because there's no rhyme or reason or common thread to it. It's each week there's a thread, but it kind of, I'm hoping it'll be like Freddie Moran. One time, Freddie Moran and I were teaching across the hallway from each other at Quilters Affair, and I had the air-conditioned room. That year, that was before they had central air at the school, and so my class, because it was on miniatures, was in the computer room because it was little desks, and it had air conditioning because of the computers. So she would come over and just stand in my room sometimes while people were working, you know. But many of you have heard that one of the things she used to say is 10 fabrics can make an ugly quilt. 100 fabrics make a beautiful quilt. And so that's the faith that I have in this Hexi, is that there's going to be 100 different fabrics in there by the time we're done. I actually don't even know how long it, I don't know, in my mind, did I hear that we were doing Hexis for a year? That would be an amazing thing, huh? What else? Oh, I'm gonna turn that off for now. I received the most amazing Quilty Kindness. I mean, look at this card. It's got the ocean, it's got the blue sky, it's got the sunshine. I can't tell you how lovely that whole card is. And Joanne, thank you so much. But this is the thing. This is the thing, is that this is not just Quilty Kindness for me, it's Quilty Kindness for you, which is, you know, it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Look at this flag. You know, what is so fun? Look at this garden flag. Get out. I can't even. This is so adorable. And how did she know that I didn't have my other flag clipped correctly? And it blew away in a big storm. So I have an empty holder that this is going to go on. Be happy. Be happy. Yes. Be happy. And then, Not Forgotten Farms. What don't we love about Not Forgotten Farms? Everything. Everything. And look at those scissors. Oh. And I'm telling you, now that I'm packaging things up in separate boxes for quick carry and stitching, I'm putting scissors in every box so that I don't have to use G's toenail clippers. Yeah, I can't even, I can't even think about that. But the best part is she sent me a kit that she said I could give away. Yes, yes. Look at this. It's acorns. I'm pretty sure those are acorns. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful. I need my glasses on. What the heck? Oh, they aren't acorns. See? I'd crack myself up. I am blind as a bat. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't see out of this eye. And this eye is still, although now that I've aged, it's kind of interesting what eyesight does. But throughout my life, this eye was 2200. They put it in the legally blind category. And so I've worn glasses most of my life, I guess. Except maybe in early childhood because they didn't know any better. But what they did was I wore a patch. You've all heard that story before. I wore a patch over my good eye so my brain could force itself to see out of my left eye. So it's a good thing I put glasses on. I was going, what does the Irish have to do with acorns? No, it's absolutely adorable. It's pots, flower pots, with shamrocks. Are you laughing? Are you laughing out loud? It's called Irish Blooms. Oh, that is adorable. That is adorable. And so I'm going to offer this to one of you, and it comes with all of the felted wool in there of every color you need for both projects, it looks like. And So let's see. If you would like to participate in this Quilty Kindness, leave in the comments the word penny, P-E-N-N-Y, penny, and I will know that you would like to possibly win that. That is so cute. Shamrocks. How adorable is that? Okay, where are we getting? We're getting down to the pile and almost to the point of where we're going to have to do some binding stitching. I am making this for a friend. This is a Hexi Mat I made in a class for Hexis by Machine. It's gorgeous. And so I attached it and layered it and quilted it with a straight stitch and a buttonhole stitch. So this week, this is what I did. And then you can see on the back. And then I attached the binding on it, and I was going to tack the binding down. And then I thought, it really needs some quilting here. And so I'm going to do a little bit more quilting on this before I send it off. I just love these fabrics. These are Kathy Schmidt's fabric line. Oh, that girl really knows how to design fabric. So I have that on my agenda this week. And then when I was up here, what was I doing? Oh my gosh. I was doing a fully finish of a cross stitch that I had completed and was making into the final finish. And I had to glue it onto the cardboard, and I needed something to weight it down with, so I went over to the bookshelf over there and picked out a book just for fun, any book that just could weight it down, and I came across this book. And I mean, it's the first one I grabbed, and I was like stunned, because this was a book that was put together, I believe, by my friend Ingrid, who I worked with at the hospital, and it was put together with like a scrapbook with all these messages from all my coworkers and photographs. I mean, there's Robin and I there in the corner, and I mean, look at that. At one point in my life, I was pretty dang hot. Yeah. And it was just, and look at, there's me and Lori and Robin and Cakers. Look at that. There's my quilty group right there. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, that was like, oh, and here's my last day of work. My last day of work. Yeah. Yay! I never did look back. And here's the funny part, is that everyone used to joke about how I was the unit psychiatrist. That was my other life. Yeah, I have a college degree in behavioral psychology. Yeah, so now I'm going to work on this binding. And I have, oh, this is going to be so great that this is done. And this is the first quilt that I've quilted in a long time. I mean, that I have personally quilted in a long time. So it felt good to get that Sweet 16 going. So what are you working on? Did you did you lose your quilting mojo for a bit? Sometimes that comes and goes, doesn't it? It's like you just, yeah, no rhyme or reason. I just kind of let it roll with me and then move on to something else. And most of the time, quilters do other crafts. I mean, I have seen quilters do cross stitch, card making, diamond painting, knitting, weaving. I mean, we're not just... I haven't talked about... I haven't shared in a while lately Instagram, who I follow on Instagram, and I have to tell you, it reminded me, well, this is how you know those connect the dots that are like in the children's pamphlet book that used to get from school, you know, this is one of those moments, connecting the dots. So I was cutting out the binding strips. My blade was dull. You know, how long do you use your blade before you change it? It seems like we don't change our blades until you could dig dirt with them. And we don't change our needles until they start making nail holes. And that's not a good thing. But so I was trying to cut the strips out for my binding, and I keep my extra blades in this absolutely wonderful, it's a Annie bag, like a door hanger thing, and it has like a chalkboard fabric that I could write something on, and it has a, you know, you could actually wear it on a belt if you wanted, and so I keep extra blades for my rotary cutter. But the thing about this is that this was made for me by an absolutely lovely person in England, Graham, and I follow him on Instagram. He's the Yorkshire boy, and it's so wonderful to see someone dream a dream and then make that dream a reality. It is a wonderful thing, and right now he's setting up, or has already finished setting up, his quilting studio, because he does quilting for other people. And if I lived closer to him, I would be using his services, let me tell you. But it is fun to see what he's doing. And I always think that the quilters who use his services are darn lucky. Oh, this is so perfect. This is so perfect. And I forgot to tell you about a couple of quilt tube type shows that I have been watching. It's kind of fun it's kind of fun for you know, on the floss tube cross stitch community, it's like totally connected like a spider web. But it is not that same way in the quilting community. At least I'm behind the 8 ball. And so, but there is a couple of, YouTube channels that I've started watching on quilting. And one is called Power Tools with Thread. And she has very specific how to do something. And I love the title of it, Power Tools with Thread. That is so funny. And she has every type of sewing machine, embroidery, serger. I mean, she's got everything. Long arm, she's got it all. And then the other one, let me see if I can find the other one. It's kind of fun. Let's see here. Let's look under this one. You know, I haven't put them totally to my, I should go to my, I should actually go to my, well, darn. Do I have it? Is there a way to... we get to see, my friend Ariane, she does, on the other hand, that is for stitching. That is, if you want to learn, like, specialty stitching, and especially, she does it for right hand or left hand, but she started out as a teaching left-handed stitchers, which, not being left-handed, I didn't realize how challenging that can be. But she has, she has a YouTube channel, on the other hand, that is just beautiful. I mean, beautiful stitching. And so you need to check that one out. The other YouTube channel that I like is Stephen Bland. And he does a lot of YouTube and stitching on YouTube, and he does some live stuff. I've watched some of his live stuff where you could actually ask him questions, and so there is, at least in my view, there is starting to be more and more on the quilting end. I know that Alex Anderson does a tutorial every week for the quilt show. So, but we just aren't quite... Oh! Sorry about that. Steve's got some music too. We aren't just quite as connected, I think, as in the cross-stitch community. But I'm going to change that because there's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. We have to help each other. That's what I figure. We have to help each other. So today, my girlfriend Robin is coming by and going to help me with my plants. I have some house plants that need to be rehomed or repotted, one of the things. And she is like a plant genius. So I'm going to be doing that. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep attaching this binding. thanks for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by. And if you have a chance, start a new project. That was really mean. Wasn't that mean? And I'm only saying that because I bought a new pattern that's being shipped to me. And I'll share that on a future video. But, oh my gosh. We do love it, don't we? I love it a lot, and I love all of you guys. So, you take care. We'll see you in the next video, and keep stitching.